Welcome to episode 128 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we continue with the Last Tantalides and Part 2 of Iphigenia in the land of the Tauri. The herdsman had ended and awaited the commands of the priestess. She told him to bring her the strangers, but when she was alone, she said to herself, I have always felt pity for my countrymen and wept whenever Argives fell into my hands. But now that a dream has given me the certainty that Orestes, my beloved brother, no longer sees the light of day, now all Achaeans who approach this coast shall find me merciless. For the unhappy are always hostile to the happy. The Argives dragged me like a lamb to the altar where my own father was willing to see me slaughtered. Never shall I forget my terror. If Zeus drove Menelaus, who urged that I be sacrificed, and Helen, who caused the siege of Troy, to these shores, I shall rejoice and... But here she was interrupted by the approach of the captives. Loosen their hands, she commanded. The consecration they are to receive demands that they be free of all bonds. And now go into the temple and make the necessary preparations. Then she turned to the strangers and asked, Who is your father, your mother, your sister? If you have a sister, who is to be robbed of such strong, fine brothers? Where have you come from? You must have a long journey behind you, but now you must prepare for one still longer, for you are going to the underworld. Orestes answered her, Whoever you may be, do not speak to us in so compassionate a voice. It is not fitting for the executioner to comfort his victim before he strikes him dead. If death is inevitable, then lament is useless. No tears either from you or from us. Let fate take her course. Which of you two is Pylades? Tell me that first of all, said the priestess. This is he, said Orestes, pointing to his friend. Are you brothers? Through friendship, not by birth, Orestes replied. And what is your name? Call me an exile, he answered. Better I die nameless, for then no one can taunt me. The priestess was vexed by his defiance, and pressed him at least to tell her what city he came from. When she heard the name of Argos, she trembled and exclaimed excitedly, By Zeus, do you really come from there? Yes, said Orestes. I come from Mycenae, where fortune once favored my house. If you come from Argos, stranger, called Iphigenia, with growing suspense, you must have news of Troy. Is it true that the city lies in ruins? Did Helen return to her husband? It is, as you say. And now is the commander of all Argives, I think his name is Agamemnon, son of Atreus. Orestes shuddered at her question. He turned his head from her and said, I do not wish to speak of him, O priestess. But she begged him in such a pleading word that he gave in to her. He is dead, he said in a low voice. His own wife killed him. The priestess of Artemis uttered a cry of distress, but she collected herself and continued questioning the stranger. And is that woman still living? She is no longer alive, was his reply. Her own son killed her. He took on himself the burden of avenging his father, but he is suffering for it. Is any other child of Agamemnon alive? 2 daughters, Electra and Chrysophamus. And what is known of their eldest daughter, of the one who was sacrificed? The hen died in her stead. She herself vanished. She must be dead long since. And is the son of murdered Agamemnon still alive? The girl asked hesitatingly. Yes, said Orestes. He is an exile and wanders without rest through all of Greece. Away with you, beguiling dream, Iphigenia said to herself. Then she bade the servants withdraw, and when she was alone with the 2 youths, she turned to Orestes and said in a low voice, Listen to what will be a profit to you and me. I shall save your life if you agree to take me to Mycenae, which is both your home and mine. a letter I shall write to my people. I do not care to save myself unless my friend is also saved, said Orestes. He did not leave me in my misery, and I shall not leave him. How noble and brotherly a friend, Iphigenia exclaimed. If only my brother were like you, for you must know that I too have a brother, only that he is very far away. But I have not the power to save both of you. The king would never permit it. So let your friend Pylades return to Greece in your stead. Who will sacrifice me to Artemis? Asked Orestes. I myself. Such is the command of the goddess, Iphigenia replied. Will you, a frail girl, slay men? No. My office is to sprinkle your hair with sacred water. The temple servants will take care of the rest. Your body will be burned in a rocky gorge. Oh, that my sister could bury my bones, sighed Orestes. That cannot be, since she lives in faraway Argos, answered the girl, much moved. But I myself shall quench the glowing ashes of your pyre and pour on it offerings of oil and honey. I shall adorn your grave as though I were indeed your sister. With that she left to write a letter. When the two friends were alone, for the men who guarded them stood some distance, Pylades could no longer restrain himself. No, he cried, I cannot live if you die. Do not ask me to consent to so disgraceful a proposal. I shall follow you to death, just as I followed you across the sea. Phocis and Argos would brand me a coward. All the world would say that I betrayed and killed you to inherit your realm, and all the more so because I am to become your brother-in-law and court an electorate without asking a dowry. But aside from all this, I cannot live without you. If you die, I die. Orestes tried to dissuade him from his purpose, and they were still disputing when Iphigenia returned with the letter in her hand. First, she made Pylades swear to deliver it, and in return she gave her word to save him. Then she decided to tell him the contents, in case the letter were lost in the course of the journey, in an accident perhaps, and the bearer himself survived. Tell Orestes, son of Agamemnon, she said, that Iphigenia was taken from the altar in Aulis by Artemis, and that she is alive and— Where is she? Broke in Orestes. Can the dead awaken? She stands before you, said the priestess, but do not interrupt me. Then she continued her message. My dear brother shall take me home to Argos, away from these barbarians, from this altar where I am forced to murder strangers. If he does not do this, a curse shall rest on him and his house. The friends were speechless with amazement. At last, Pylades took the letter, turned to his friend, and gave it to him with the words, I shall immediately perform what I sworn to carry out. Here, Orestes, take the letter your sister Iphigenia sends you. Orestes let it fall to the ground and locked his sister in his arms. She pushed him from her, unable to believe the truth until he told her incidents from the history of her house which only one of the family could know. Then she cried out joyously, So you are here, and mine, my only brother. How young you were when I left you in the arms of your nurse. How carefree and happy. Yes, as happy as we are now that we have found each other again. But Orestes' brow had clouded. He had remembered the danger threatening him and his friend. We are happy now, he said, but for how long? Are we not faced with death? And now, Iphigenia too was seized with terror. What can I do to save you? She asked. How can I send you back to Argos? How rescue you and your friend from falling as victims at the altar? Oh, that the gods would give me counsel. But quickly now, before Thoas becomes impatient at the delay in sacrifice, tell me everything that has happened at home. Orestes hastily told her the tale of horror, lightened by the only one piece of good news, the betrothal of Electra to Pylades. While she listened, the girl cast about for some possibility to save her brother. When he had ended, she found a way. I thought of a plan, she said. The madness which attacked you when you were taken captive on the shore shall serve me as a pretext. I shall tell the king what is entirely true, that you have come from Argos, where you murdered your mother, that you are unclean because you have not atoned, and are therefore not acceptable to the goddess, that you must first be purified in the sea to wash the blood of murder from your body. And I shall tell him that because you touched the image of the goddess with supplicating hands, it too is unclean and must be cleansed in the waves. Since I, the priestess, am the only one allowed to handle the image, I myself shall carry it down to the shore, and you shall both accompany me. For I shall say that Pylades is an accomplice in your crime. I must convince the king of all this with crafty words, for he is too shrewd to be deceived easily. And once we reach the shore and board your ship, you and your men must do the rest. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.